Welcome to the Feminine Mystery. My name is Azalea Dawn. I am going to get right into this today because it's going to be a lot of video for you. But we're going to be talking all about the side hustles, the businesses that I would start if you are, very good looking, you've worked on your appearance, you are, young, you're hot, you're one of the hot girls. Like, what are the hot girl businesses to work right now? Now, this is going to be like a very dense video, but I wanted to give a bit of an overview up front just because, if you're going to watch all of this, you should really know the value that you're going to get from it. So we're going to start out by talking about, the thing that everybody's mind goes straight to, all of that, illicit work. And we're going to talk about why you do not want to do this. You don't want to do it under any circumstances, why it's just not worth it to do that, and what you want to be doing instead, right? Getting legal. Then we're going to talk about a series of different business models that you can try and why they are such excellent white space in the market. So we're going to identify those, key pieces of what makes a business really good and how you're really going to tap into that, start to generate customers for yourself, what service you're going to provide, and how you're going to stay with them so that you don't just have like a one-time sale. You're getting business consistently through your life. So if this interests you, then keep on watching because we're just going to get right into it. First things first, hot girls, make it official and keep it legal. This is one of the things that I really want to address because anytime that we're talking about what can you do now that you're looking really good, the first place people's minds go is to the gutter. We're talking sex, work, being a sugar baby, things like that. And I just really wanted to give you a lay of the land right now to tell you why that's not what you want to be doing and what you want to be doing instead, right? So we're going to talk demography, but we're going to make this very, very simple so that everybody is following here. Essentially, there are different generations. Those generations have shared characteristics, and this is actually backed up by a lot of data. This is a form of science, a social science that people do, and those people are called demographers. So anytime you really want to learn more about this, you're going to look up demography and then the name of that generation. So some prominent generations that I'm sure you've heard of are baby boomers, so people born in the 60s, 50s and 60s, Gen X. Then there are millennials, which is the majority of my audience, and then Gen Z, which is also the second highest part of my audience. And the generation coming up right now, the generation that are children in school right now going through social emotional learning, those are called a Gen Alpha. So each one of those generations has a need, and those generations have shared characteristics. Back when baby boomers were really coming through, it was a time when people were very self-centered, self-oriented. There was the whole greed is good movement. It was kind of the hustle and bustle of the 80s. That was what people were doing. And people didn't have a lot of regard for other people's feelings at the time. That was just kind of characteristic of the generation. It was very every man for himself. It was Donald Trump was a huge celebrity at the time and a very popular celebrity. That kind of thing was the culture. It was kind of the get up and go, hustle, make your money, whatever happens, happens. So somebody literally picking up let's say an HOOKER on the side of the street, and that was just a fun Friday night versus now in 2024. That's human trafficking. People are just not about that in the same way. And let me tell you, when it comes to any kind of, about the maybe less than reputable work, if you get what I'm saying, that is not what you want to be doing in this day and age. First of all, it's just not going to make you the money that it would have made you 30, 40 years ago. Even 20 years ago in the early 2000s, it is just not the same anymore. You're not going to be making money like that because there really aren't the customers in the way that there used to be. There just are not. People don't want to engage in that. They don't want that all over their reputations, and Gen Z in particular is very risk averse. This generation, there are huge demography metrics that literally bear this data out, that Gen Z doesn't do, as many, illicit drugs as, baby boomers did. They're at the same age. People are not really purchasing motorcycles like that. People are not engaging in things like skydiving, any kind of metric of risk aversion between like certain previous generations at the same age and millennials and especially Gen Z, it's very, very, very different. So Gen Z is just not out here playing with their lives, risking STDs in that way. So all of that, like kind of like seedy work of the past, it is literally just not going to make you a profit. So you don't even want to go down that direction. Beyond that, jail is not hot. Jail is not hot. A criminal record is not hot. You do not want to do that. It's just not worth it, and it's very difficult to clean up. Like legal fees, very expensive. It's just something that stays with you in a way that's really unfortunate. So you do not even want to go down that road. Instead, you want to keep it legal and make it official, because that's really one, where the money is in this day and age. You're going to get a lot more like business just with like a legal entity, and two, there are many benefits to actually getting legal. So essentially what I want to let you know is that you want to, first things first, no matter what you do on this list, you want to go from being a sole proprietorship to an LLC, right? So an LLC is literally just the limited liability corporation aspect of that here in the United States, and things like C Corp and S Corp are tax designations that you have with your LLC. So that's just how to explain that. That's how my lawyers explained it to me. But that is the number one thing that you really want to make the transition to, just from a liability standpoint, but also like it's just in terms of like the benefits that come along with being an LLC. So you are literally going to go from being taxed as a sole, like as an individual, to being taxed as a corporation, and that's going to come with all kinds of benefits for you. So that's the number one thing that you want to do when it comes to getting your own business. You don't want to just have like a side hustle that you're just kind of like running, like, oh, you have like this drop shipping business or a drop shipping website that you like sell like sunglasses from like Alibaba on. Like, you don't want to be doing stuff like that, especially as like a sole proprietorship. The number one thing that you want to do is become an LLC, and then you want to start to go through the legal process of accessing all of those deductions that come with an LLC. So like your place of business, any kind of cell phone that you're using for your business, or any kind of, like internet charge that you're using for your business, technical equipment like computers, anything that you're using for your business, you want to actually access those as deductions of the legal way through an LLC, and you want to make sure that you're working with an accountant and an attorney to do that. But that is more simple than I think a lot of people give it credit for. It's very like easy to just get in there, meet with an attorney, start to understand tax law, work with your accountant, and get those deductions, and it's very, very, very worth it financially to do that. So that's the number one thing. You want to become an LLC because that's going to propel you to wealth faster than any other thing that you can do. So regardless of what else happens on this list, you want to remember to keep it legal and make it official. Keep it legal as in do not engage with all of that seedy work, because the money is not even there at this point in society. It's just not. Don't do, the LF. Don't do, like the street, like all the stuff that like Trisha Paytas did when she was young in like the 2000s. Don't do that. You want to work in a business, and you want to be legally incorporated as a business. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Now, we're going to talk about learning about cars and then starting to sell them. And yeah, really, I am dead serious. I know that if you're a bit more of like in like the bimbo core section, maybe you're like really focused on being hot, really focused on being feminine, like cars are not your thing. You don't know about that. You're not really looking for all of that information, blah, 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 blah. Totally get it. I don't, personally, I don't know anything about horsepower, but I do know a lot about a good business opportunity. And let me tell you something. A car is one of the biggest ticket purchase. Sorry. A car is one of the biggest ticket purchases that a lot of people in the United States in particular are going to be making in their lives. A lot of people, just to get a layout of the market as it currently is, fewer and fewer people are buying homes. And because they're not really buying homes, people still kind of like crave those like big like reward style, like this accomplishment milestone purchase. And a lot of people, particularly men and particularly younger men, are channeling that excess spending, regardless of whether or not it's affordable, but that's another conversation. They're channeling that excess desire to spend into the car. So this is really the space that you want to be. Whereas maybe like in the 2000s, especially, like in the 2010s, like real estate was really the place to be. I really feel like right now you don't really want to be in real estate as much as you want to be in car sales. So that is really like a very strategic position, especially as, like Gen Z starts to come, like more into their late 20s and their 30s, right? Car sales is a position that you're really going to start to want to be in. So you're going to want to start to learn about car sales and different forms of car selling, whether that's working at a used car dealership for commission or, like working across like dealerships, whatever, because you want to have access essentially to different makes, different models of cars, and you want to be able to feature things on social media, and you want to make sure that you are working commission based. So like this is going to be like a very like kill what you eat kind of like field, where if you're not working, you're not making as much money. But like this is again like the kind of thing to do if you really want to be in control of your own schedule. So you want to make sure that you're doing this either like commission based or working in your own business as a consultant. The next thing you want to do is start to really look at like different ways in which you can sell a car. So not just, like straight up like selling the main vehicle. You're going to want to start to look into things like car clubs, membership clubs, different forms of leasing and things like that. Because what I'm noticing as a trend, and somebody like feel free to elaborate more on this if like you're more of like a car person than I am, but what I'm noticing a lot is that men will lease out different cars in addition to their main car, just to kind of, like, or they'll like have like some kind of like membership kind of thing where they can trade out a car maybe like once a month so that they can like get the experience of driving like a Porsche or a Tesla or some other kind of car without the commitment of actually like purchasing that or making it like a longer term lease. I'm seeing that a lot, and I'm especially seeing that in places that are, like more like driving cities. It's also like a little bit like flashy, very like new money. We're talking like Miami, we're talking Palm Beach, like Florida, we're talking Austin, Texas, we're talking Tennessee, because a lot of people are moving to Nashville. All of these places would be great places to do these kinds of businesses, especially maybe not so much in like New York City, for instance. But anytime like you really have a lot of people who are driving and really investing into their cars, this would be a very strategic business to get into. So that is my number one recommendation, is to just start to learn about cars and then to get into that space and start selling on commission for that. Because the bigger the ticket purchase people are making, right, and the longer you can stay with them throughout the different phases of their life. Like maybe, like he's a single man, he wants, like a really fast, really sporty car at this age, versus like he's becoming a father and he's going to want like a different car at that age. You're going to have this database of people that you're building up, and you're going to be able to target them again and again with different opportunities as they're moving through the different stages of life. So that is a great business opportunity in the market that I see right now, and it would be great for hot girls. Now, my next suggestion is to become a lifestyle and relationship consultant. This is, like very much like synonymous with the dating coach area, but let me tell you something. As much as it might seem like the marketplace is really saturated, it is in a sense online, but it's also, there's a huge amount of white space that I'm seeing in the market right now that would be great for all of you hot girls to take advantage of. And that is specifically the fact that like instead of having other women, especially attractive women, be your target audience, you want to start to target men as your audience. Let's really like just kind of gloss over this as much as we can, because I'm friendly to everybody's politics. But when it comes to what is happening, especially with Gen Z, a lot of, people have, kind of like fallen into that hole of, like the red pill content, the dating coaches, the alpha males, whatever, and they have been severely burned by that advice. So they are now just kind of like free, they're kind of out there, and they're not going back in that direction. So they're really very sketched out by other men who are giving dating coach advice online, and they want that advice still, because like a lot of them are struggling in this area. I see it all the time. in my personal life, like I just kind of like look and sound like younger than I am, and therefore like I will get like approached, like quite a bit and like a little aggressively sometimes. And like when it comes out like, okay, like I'm married, like this is just not gonna happen over here, like these younger men will start telling me all about, like their lives and like what they're looking for, what they want in a woman, blah blah blah, but they're, blah, and like they're like kind of like asking for advice, like what can they do, like they're trying to get like similar people, right? Because that's the number one thing with like a lot of these men, like they will see a girl, they'll be like, okay, like you probably know a lot of people like you, and they're trying to find out like how they can appeal to that. So that is why they're coming to you rather than like a lot of these men, like a lot of like these alpha male style like dating coaches in this day and age. They have been burned by all of that bad advice, and they're just like, okay, like you are what I want. How can I get somebody who's as close to you as possible? And that is the gap that you're going to fill, essentially. Now, this can be a great kind of like lane for you, right? Giving all of that lifestyle and dating relationship advice, because again, especially if you're younger, maybe like college age, like this is definitely something that I would be doing if I was, like 22, 23. This is the kind of business that I would personally be starting right now, because like you both have like the dual advantage of having probably a broader social network just coming out of college or still being in college, right? Where you can, like maybe go and like, put on your girl boss like outfit, go to like maybe like there's like a fraternity or something that's gonna have like a little bit of an event and you can be a speaker at that, or there's like student organizations where you can go and talk at. You can literally just be like, okay, like this is what I do, this is what I specialize in, and start to give like a talk like PowerPoint presentation style. Just do your thing. It can be as cringe as it needs to be, as long as you are putting your message out there, making it known that this is what you do, this is your specialty, and like putting like essentially like contact details for that. That's basically going to be one powerful way to get leads for your business, right? If you are maybe like a student or a little bit younger, freshly out of college or something like that. There's also social media, so that is another way that you're going to be able to generate leads for your business, and those two things can really compound together. Although I really feel like servicing a local area is going to be, again, like that's a huge, like just a gap in the market that I think that you should really exploit. Now, another advantage for this business is, again, because like you are, again, getting to people when they are a certain age, you're going to be able to target them again and again for business as their needs change through various phases of their life. So when they're in college, maybe they're just, looking for like general advice on how to date, things that are pleasing, things that they should do, things that they should not do, and how to maneuver certain situations because they've had all this bad advice. And now they want the good advice from how to, essentially start to get girls that look like you, who are like you. They want to know straight from the source what to do and what not to do. And they also want somebody who's going to keep things confidential. So like one of my trademark phrases in life is that I don't kiss and tell, because there is a lot of testing behavior with men. They want to know that their, business is going to be confidential. You're not going to go around telling other people that so-and-so was asking this question, asking that question, right? So, you just want to make sure that every time like you are tested in that way, that you just reinforce that you are confidential, that you do not, share anything. And that's going to be a great, point of value for you. Once you're doing that and you're getting all these leads, they're going to be with you for a long time in their lives as things change in various ways. So maybe like he's in college, he just wants to have fun, he just wants to figure out things that he should be doing, should not be doing. Then he's going to move into maybe like the real life, like move-in girlfriend phase. And he wants to know like things that would be good for that, things that are not going to be good for that, and how to maneuver those relationships. He might be moving into the marriage phase after that, and then the family life phase after that. So you're going to have essentially customers, that you're going to be able to serve it and have in your business, in your pipeline for your business, all the way from like maybe like in their 20s to like in their 30s and beyond. And that is why this is such a good business opportunity for you. Anytime that you can start to have customers that aren't just like one and done, but are really going to stay with you, stay in your network, and really going to move through different phases of their life with you, that is a powerful business model. So don't underestimate this. Definitely get out there and show people like what you're able to do if this sounds right for you. Next, we're going to talk about becoming a men's style consultant and private shopper. This is yet another one where, there's a running theme here. I am definitely somebody who is all about business savviness and targeting, the white space in the market. Where are people currently being underserved and where are the business opportunities? So it is going to seem a little counterculture for me to keep, harping on this point like again and again and again, but making sure that your business model is targeting men for things that are, above board legal, and making sure that you're going to be building a database of them that are going to stay with you for a long time horizon in life. So starting with needs that happen when you're very young, like college age, and will continue in life up to, like the 40s, and so on, like those core spending years. So there is a method to the madness. I am talking like very like high level like financial stuff, but like in a very like simple way here. So again, the next part of this is that we're going to look at becoming a men's style consultant and a private shopper. Now, in my past video, I've talked a little bit about this and mostly focused on being a private shopper for women. But when it comes to men, the same opportunities exist, but they're even more pronounced given just what's going on today. So similar to, like the motivation for why you should maybe look at becoming like a lifestyle and relationship consultant for men. In the same way, these men, they are essentially looking for like girls who represent what it is that they like and would be looking for in a woman, because like that is essentially like who they're looking to impress. So when they scroll past you, maybe on like TikTok, or like they see you on Instagram, or they see you out and about in person, or however you're generating leads for your business, like maybe you're just like out and about like networking in person at parties, anything like that, when they see you, you are the avatar of essentially like what they like in a woman. And their logic like internally is that, okay, if you like something, then girls similar to you are also gonna like this thing. And that is the business model. So you're going to be monetizing your good looks through following this business model. And that is like the core like point that I want to make here. If you're good looking and you represent, like that aspiration, you don't have to just use it, for things like relationships, etc. You can also use it to start to make and master your own business. So getting back to the point here, what are you going to do when it comes to becoming a men's style consultant? So essentially you're going to be telling them what to wear. And I know that that seems like a little kind of like bossy, but you have to understand that men, generally speaking, are not that interested in like fashion. They're really just not. A lot of women like to express themselves and their personalities through their clothing. They want to wear things. They don't want to be told what to wear. They want as much leeway as possible so that they can do things. They have like a super classic style, or they're very like colorful, very out there. Maybe they're like a little bit punk or something. They are really looking to express themselves and their personalities through their clothing, whereas like men are mostly looking for things that are functional, that are going to be comfortable, that are going to attract, right, the opposite sex in the way that they would like, and things that are going to be, like appropriate, like trendy, like very like very like aspirational, things that are going to have other people like thinking well of them. And because of those like differing like contrasting kind of like priorities there, a lot of men are more receptive to being told what to wear than a lot of women are. So that is why this is a good business model, and it's especially a good business model for you if you look good, because they're looking for, again, like, okay, like I like this girl, I like her vibe, I like the way she looks, I want a girl similar to her. If she likes this, then other girls like her are gonna like it too. That is like your core, like your unique selling like proposition, your unique value when it comes to why somebody would work with you, as opposed to like a consultant who's like a 63-year-old man. Like they're just not really looking for that. So that is your unique value. When it comes to also the private shopper aspect, when it comes to any kind of, like a release that's happening, maybe like with Hermes or Louis Vuitton, anything limited, anything like highly desirable, you're essentially going to be like taking inventory for that. Or maybe you're just like kind of like going to Nordstrom, whatever. You're taking inventory, you're hosting it in your home, and you're essentially creating the opportunity for somebody to literally just give you like their shoe size, their shoe size, size, their pant size, shirt size, whatever, and you can just put together outfits, label them and everything, and deliver it like to them ready made for them to just pay, of course, with a markup for your services. And again, this is a great business model because you're going to be able, once again, to stay with these men from their, like college years to their, maybe like 30s, all the way up until like adult life, more corporate careers, etc., etc. You are going to be able to have somebody who has needs in one area of their life, and those needs are going to change with time. So again, that's a very powerful part of any kind of business that you're going to start. So again, like really consider this, and this is especially great if you have great like interpersonal like communication skills, if you really make people feel like very like comfortable around you and people really want to do business with you. This is going to be a great way to really leverage that and get experience that can help you work with a business if you ever want to do that, because you're very good with sales and you're really moving product, right? You have like actionable like demonstrated that ability, so to speak. But you're also going to be able to command your own time, run your own business, and do you. Work as much or as little as you want to. Finally, we're going to talk about becoming a consultancy for lead generation. The essence of this is essentially that if you're somebody who like maybe you don't like to be pinned down, you don't like to be, like put in a category, you don't want to be like somebody who just has to do like this one specific thing, and you really don't want to have those more complicated parts of the business, like, okay, like maybe processing invoices or like holding inventory, like a lot of math. Maybe you just don't want to do that. A great thing to do, especially if you have really worked on your appearance, you're looking good, and you're very charismatic, right? People really just like to be around you because, like, what's not to like? You look good, you're fun, you have a great personality. People just like to be around you. They like talking to you. They like all that jazz. You want to start to essentially work in lead generation for businesses. Excuse me. So let's talk about that. I'm going to give this example of being a hostess in a restaurant. Now, I actually used to do this back when I was in college. I worked as a hostess for this restaurant, and it was just a terrible job. Like, it wasn't necessarily the customers, it was just the restaurant as a whole. So if I could go back in time, I would not do that again. But hindsight is 2020. I would work for myself. But let's talk about like why restaurants even have hostesses in the first place, and why are they so often, like these pretty girls who are just like standing and they're like the first thing you see when you walk into these businesses. That is exactly the point. When people see you, you literally bring customers in the door. That is what these restaurants, these businesses, even like hotels, they're not really telling you. You are literally the person who is bringing the customer in the door. When people see you and you're smiling and you're happy, you're good looking, you're charismatic, warm, funny, people just really like interacting with you. And you will literally, just by doing that, just by being the first interaction they're having walking through the door of this business, you are increasing their customer satisfaction. And this is literally a metric that, like businesses, like these big wigs and these corporate boardrooms have known for decades. And that's why things are like this. The more you know. So you're essentially going to take this skill, take this thing that you would be doing for these big businesses, and do it for yourself instead. You want to be your own consultancy, and you're going to offer lead generation, which is exactly the same thing. You're going to be the person, you're going to be the girl who is getting the customers through the door of whatever business that you are consulting with. So let's say you are active on social, you have like somewhat of a following, it's very local, like to whatever area, like let's say like you're in Dallas and you just have, like maybe like less than 10,000 followers, but like it's all, like very similar, just like people in like the Dallas area. This is going to be a great opportunity for you, because essentially what you can do as a consultant is you can just get on your social for whatever period of time and just start talking about this business. You can start going into the business, showing people around the business. You are essentially just getting people interested, getting people knowing about it. But it's different than advertising, because rather than, being like more like broad market, you are literally like, your job is to get feet in the door. And that is where pretty girls have such an enormous advantage over, like, let's say even like a Logan Paul. Like people may love like a Mr. Beast or, like the Paul brothers or anything like that, but people will really get up and move to go and see pretty girls in person. And that is something that you definitely are probably familiar with, or you will learn as you start to pursue this business model more. So you can really turn out customers to an in-person business in a way that other people can't. And this is great, especially if you're very local to an area and maybe you have like a micro following on social or something. So that is essentially the name of the game. Anytime you want to start to generate leads for a business, you're essentially just going to make a contract. You're going to charge them the fixed amount. You're going to describe the work that you're going to do for them. Maybe you are taking, like guided tours of the building. You are, like workshopping it through the community. You are, just out and about, going to parties, networking, telling people about this business, whatever. However lead generation is going to work for you, you're going to get the word out about their business and you're going to send people essentially to whatever business is local to you and is hiring you as a consultant. So this is a really good strategy for those of you who want like a business that you can work essentially whenever you want to, and you're not having to work 24/7. Like you're not having to like manage something all the time essentially. So hopefully this has all been very interesting for you. It's, sparked some ideas that you haven't thought of before. And it's something that's really different from, like the way that people are just kind of like talking about like on social media, like, oh, you can do like a drop shipping business. We're not talking about that. We're talking about things that you can really do to make like legitimate legal money that are great like opportunities in the market right now. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please like give like a thumbs up to this and let me know like which one of these was your favorite in the comments below. I will see you in my next video. Until then,